Who's ready for some Apple Glazed Pork Loin? This is gonna be a good one. Let's get started. All right, the first thing we want to do to get started on our Apple Glazed Pork Loin, you can see I've got it out of the pack here and dried off. This pork loin was a little over 8 pounds and cost $18 and some change at Costco. So you can see this pork loin has some fat on top here. The first thing I'm gonna do, right, I don't want to cook this huge piece of meat on my grill. So I'm gonna go about halfway down the center point and I'm gonna cut this in half, okay? It's gonna allow me to smoke 2 pieces of meat a little more evenly instead of trying to get to a center point in the dead center here. So the first thing I wanna do, I'm gonna get some of this tissue and hard fat off the top of this pork loin, but if you wanna leave it on there, that's perfectly fine too. I just don't want it on mine. Now the simplest thing for me is to kind of get under that tissue, try to stay off of the meat here, and when you go all the way through, you can kind of come up on your meat and just steady just trim that away. And you see there's a thin little layer of meat there, not much at all. You just follow that line there and just keep trimming it down here. Just lay your knife and let it glide. I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm not worried about if it's all pretty and symmetrical, as long as all that fat is off. So I'm gonna get this one trimmed up and we're gonna get ready to do some seasoning. Now you can see as I'm trimming this part of the tenderloin versus this one, this is where it gets on the roast end, where it gets a little darker. To me, this is gonna be your better half for smoking whole. I mean, that's just me. Seems like a little more tender and juicy almost. That's what I like. Now, one of the benefits of doing this, I don't like all the chewy, kind of just fat and all that. And if you don't trim this off, you kind of get some of that sometimes. And I just don't care for it. But some people don't ever trim pork loin. They leave all this on there. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's kind of, you do it as you want. Now that we've got our pork loins trimmed up like we want them, I'm gonna take a little bit of olive oil as a binder here. Just kind of rub it on. Now, first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna come in with a little bit of apple rub here. So a really unique flavor profile. The apple really stands out. And we're just looking for a good undertone of this apple. And this is gonna give us a nice flavor pop, what we're looking for, all right? Now we've kind of got the apple layered on, I'm gonna come back with a little honey chipotle. Now you can see we've got a nice even coat of barbecue rub on these pork loins. I've got my Traeger fired up at 275 degrees with some roll-up charcoal pellets. I'm gonna get them over on the Ironwood XL right now, and I'm gonna let them smoke for about 45 minutes, and I'm gonna take a look at them. After that, it'll kind of give me a good idea of when I need to start making my glaze up and kind of where the pork loin is. I know it's gonna take somewhere around an hour and probably 30-ish minutes if I had to guess to cook these, but that's just a good solid guess. We'll see. It may be an hour and 15 minutes. But after about 45 minutes, I'm gonna start making my glaze and get ready to start basting these loins. Let's get them on. Now, kind of got them shaped up how I want them. I'm gonna get the grill lid shut, set my timer for 45 minutes, and I'll return. Alexa, set a timer for 45 minutes. All right, our pork loin has been on a little over 45 minutes. Woo, look at that. Looking good in the neighborhood. Setting about 125 right there. Then about 113, 114 right there. So we're just ginning on along. Let's make some glaze up. All right, we've been cooking an hour and 15 minutes. Our pork loin, we just checked them. They're hitting 125 degrees to 128. This one's 128, this one's 125. I'm just gonna go straight my apple glaze on this. I'm keeping this simple and easy. This is a great holiday alternative here. If you don't want to cook a turkey or a ham, there's nothing wrong with a pork loin, and you can make it your own and serve it 10 different ways. I'm just looking for a nice little undertone. Nothing that's gonna jump out. We're gonna let those go for about another 20 minutes and we're gonna check them. They should be almost perfect by then at that around 140 to 145. Alexa, set a timer for 15 minutes. All right, we've been cooking our pork loins 1 hour and 45 minutes. Look at these. These apple glazed pork loins look phenomenal. That honey chipotle rub on there gives it a great color with the apple rub and the apple glaze. I'm gonna go in about halfway here. Says I'm hitting about 142, 144. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm calling both of them. That's good enough for me. I'm gonna get them off of this grill, allow them to rest, and we're gonna carve them up. I wish y'all could smell these. That apple rub smells amazing on these. Now, let's get the grill lid shut. I'm gonna let these rest for about 15 minutes and we're gonna carve into them. All right, our pork loin is on the board, and just to tell you a little bit about it and recap, we took a huge 8-pound pork loin, a little over 8 pounds. We cut it in half, we trimmed all the fat off of it, we seasoned it with a good base layer of apple rub, and then come back with our honey chipotle after we drizzle it with a little bit of olive oil. After that, we put it on our Traeger Ironwood XL, let it smoke at 275 degrees over roll oak charcoal pellets for about an hour. We checked it, seen where it was at. We went about 1 hour and 15 minutes before we really got started glazing. It ended up cooking about 1 hour and 40 minutes total. And so you can see it's rested for about 15 minutes now. It has turned out absolutely beautiful. The last thing to do is get in here and slice it. Remember, pork tenderloin is a cheap, really inexpensive meal to cook. And at the holidays with family coming over, it's a really good cut that goes a long way. You can put so many different spins on it and serve it with so many different things. Be sure to give it a try because you won't regret it. Let's get started slicing this pork loin. Y'all, I wish y'all could feel this knife here. It's just slicing right on through this. I know this tenderloin's gonna be good. I'm gonna tell y'all, I know it's gonna be good. I'm gonna go in here and get one right out of the middle here. Whew. Actually, I want it on the end down here. I want some of this roast end. I'll go right here. See a little bit of that roast end starting there? I want y'all to look at this right here. Now, I didn't inject this, but look at that. That right there is what you call just, oh, look at that. This right here is without a doubt one hell of a holiday meal. If you like what we're doing on our channel, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow along. I'm gonna keep cooking easy, simple, delicious recipes every week. You can follow along with your friends and find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Pinterest, and of course, YouTube. I'll see you next week with another video.